Wherever you look, successful people all say the same thing. They all have their own way of saying it, of course, but when it comes down to it, there is only one word.
So just a couple days after I quit my job, I left the United States for a 7-day long trip to be able to reflect on where I was in my life and set an intention on where I wanted to be going forward. And I wanted to be able to read these books that I had set aside for so long, and I was going to journal by the ocean and meditate and work on my breathing and do all these things to become an even more stronger and powerful self whenever I came back. But life happens, and the second day that I was there, I ended up getting sick, and I had some sort of food poisoning or something. And while I was still able to do quite a bit of things, I wasn't able to really do anything that I had set my intentions on doing in that trip because I was so uncomfortable. And with that came in my mind, I was setting negotiations with myself on why I couldn't hit these things I wanted to do. So when I came back, I just landed, I hadn't done anything that I wanted to do. And I was getting a little bit down on myself, and there was starting to be some self-doubt and some of these things that I just didn't feel like I was grounded on where it was that I wanted to be. So I want to express how I'm just going to use this as a trip. It was nothing more. It's not going to be something that's going to take me weeks to overcome. It's not going to be a momentum stopper because ultimately I get to decide what's going to happen on my next step. So that goes to what's called realizing where you are in your cycle. I think a lot of people think that you want to be so consistent that you never have these periods where you experience downtime. I think no matter how efficient you are in your life, you're always going to experience these moments where you feel like you're a bit ungrounded and you feel like the momentum is really starting to slow down. A thought that I had when I was there and I had all of that time to kind of just sit in my own thoughts was I thought, should I suppress my highs to where when it crashes down, it doesn't hurt as bad? And the answer is absolutely not. I don't want to not enjoy my moments of happiness at the magnitude of that because I'm scared of whenever things start to decrease or not be as good. I want to be able to have the highs be something where I am so proud and feeling full of love and all of these different things, and have the lows be that of learning, of what is it that I'm gonna do next to be able to get back to that point or higher. So we need to change the frequency. So to do that, you have to realize where you are in that step to not be able to just start getting down on yourself. With that, you realize that you are in control, and that comes to a theory called radical responsibility. And this is an interesting theory because it kind of puts all of the focus on yourself. So any event that happens in your life is a result of you allowing to have that decision happen. So if something negative happens in your life, you get to decide what your action or inaction is going to be to that. So if in my instance, say, yeah, I didn't feel good, but because I didn't feel good, that meant I couldn't journal and I couldn't practice breath work and I couldn't meditate, I ultimately chose not to do those things. And so instead of playing the victim card, I'm going to use this as a learning experience. I'm going to learn that my actions led me to not being where I wanted to be. How can I fix that to where next time I'm on a trip or next time I feel bad, I can still continue to be consistent and I can still continue to have that momentum. To be able to do all of this to begin with in consistency, you need to know what your why is. And I think a lot of people know at some level what it is that they're wanting to do. So in my instance, I am wanting to help bring mental health to the focal point of most people and allowing them just to be able to talk about it and to be able to express and share their emotions. But why am I wanting to do that? Well, I want to help people. Why do you want to help people? Well, I can feel the pain and the suffering for a lot of people and I can see it. Well, why do you see it? And eventually you boil down all the way to, I do a lot of therapy on healing my younger self and realizing what trauma or what different things my younger self perceived certain situations to be, and then rewiring that to being able to allow me to take my actions in a different way. A lot of things you're gonna find is gonna be as a result of some sort of trauma or something you had as a child. So when I do these therapies and I look at my younger self and I hold him and I tell him everything's gonna be okay, and I realize that I am the vessel of protection for him now, that there's no way that I'm not going to allow that to fail. I'm not going to allow him to get hurt. I'm going to do things to protect him. But I'm also going to do things to make him proud. And in a way, I know how much he wanted to help people when he was younger, and he would do all of these little things because he was so caring. It's built into me. It's who I am. But realizing that and realizing my why is I want to make my younger self proud, and I'm going to protect him, and I want to be the vessel that allows him to be able to give that love and caring that he has, to be able to help people. That why is so strong that it gives me a North Star to be able to continue to keep going forward whenever the consistency kind of stops. But you need to have a how. How am I going to do that? And that is when you need to sit down and you need to work through certain different things that you want to do. How am I going to achieve what it is that I want to do? I have a massive goal. I want to be able to help hundreds of thousands of people with mental health. I need to start with just small micro steps that allow myself to be able to help myself, help my neighbor, help my family, help these people, and gradually scale it to where it is that I want to do. I think a lot of people on their how, they think about it so big picture that they kind of just shut down. Just think about what it is that you can do to be able to help, and at most times it's going to focus on yourself. How can you help yourself? A lot of people will break, myself included, will break their consistency at the sacrifice to be able to help someone else. But at most times you're gonna realize that you're actually doing them a disservice because you're not able to do what it is that you want to do. You are hurting yourself, and if they love you enough, they want what's best for you. I was talking to a friend as soon as I landed, and he asked me what I was about to do, and I said I was about to film a video. He's like, dude, you just got back. I was like, yeah. And he's like, and you're gonna film a video? I was like, yeah, of course. And he was like, all right. He wanted me to do something with him, but my priority was to continue to stay consistent with the videos that I produce and the authenticity that I have. He realized that that was more important than giving me grief, but it still kind of shows that I had to stand up for what it is that I wanted to do in my life. So this kind of goes into what are these little small steps that you can have? And ultimately, a lot of these kind of help you with your how. So one of the things that I had was don't make things too complicated. I used to be horrible at making my bed, but it was because at my parents' place, I had a loft, and it was very difficult to make my bed because it was so confined in the area. When I was able to move into my apartment, a priority I had was to not have things around the bed to make it extremely easy to make my bed. When I used to try to journal every time before I went to bed, I thought I needed to sit on my counter and kind of just, explain what it is that I was thinking and do all these different journaling techniques. But I realized when I just left the journal and the pen next to my bed, I was journaling consistently every single night because it was simple. It didn't need to have all of these extra things to go into it. Another thing in helping with the consistency is just realizing what your triggers are. So something that I struggle with is self-pleasure. And I get stressed, and I use that as the way to relieve stress. I use it as my little dopamine hit. And my problem is that I use it too much because I am not able to effectively manage my stress levels yet. And so I realize that my trigger is when I feel stress, I tend to go to self-pleasure. So realizing that, I have to navigate around it. I have to work on things that help me not feel as stressed. And when I do that, through exercise, through meditation, through journaling, I start to realize that my self-pleasure tendencies start to go way down because I don't have that trigger. Of course, it's still gonna happen, and I'm not gonna beat myself up over it because I'm human and I realize that's what's happening. Again, going back to realizing where you are in the cycle. I also really think an important one is understanding your boundaries. So understanding that if I don't do anything in my life, I'm not going to get to where I want. But right now I could decide, well, as soon as I land, I'm going to do a workout, I'm gonna film a video, I'm going to read a book, I'm gonna do everything that I didn't wanna do. What's gonna end up happening is I'm gonna hit burnout. So I have to ride a fine line between doing nothing and doing everything all at once. Make sure that you know yourself, what your tendencies are. If you get burnt out easily, that's okay. Do things at a slower pattern. It's better to do small micro progressions every single day than to have one day where you're extremely productive, because compound interest is going to allow those micro progressions to arch way higher in the long run than just having one single day of projection, than having just one single day of productivity in a long time span. So this is how I'm going to be able to reflect on my trip and be able to enjoy it and not get down on myself, and to be able to continue to keep riding my momentum and understand that when things get tough, it's a learning opportunity. It isn't something's wrong with me or why can't I do this or anything like that. It is, how do I just change the dial just a bit to be able to hone in on where it is that I want to go. Good luck to you all on your journeys, on what it is that you are trying to do to be able to be consistent in your lifestyle. Please let me know if I missed something or if you think I was totally off the ball on one of these. I always thank you guys so much. Thank you for allowing me to be able to just share what it is that I am thinking and feeling, and it means the world to me, so thank you. All right, bye-bye.